The Solar Empire musters a last-ditch air assault on the Anglo Isles' overstretched defenses. Commander Pierce takes to the skies in a bid to end this war once and for all.
So, for this mission and the next, I recorded the footage off my Wii U instead of my regular Wii. Now, hopefully that won't make too much of a difference. It did take a while to get the settings to where it looks nice, because, you know, Wii U is in widescreen by default, so I had to change my TV settings. So annoying.
The sun rises on the day of my final victory, Pierce. My airbase shall orchestrate the fall of your vile nation.
We're in a tighter spot than I'd have liked, Commander. The Admiral is right on our doorstep.
This is where I make my last stand. You will never reach my helipads and POW camps.
Bomber Command has ordered we defend this airbase. It's all that stands between Akira and his last big push. Our very sovereignty is at stake, Commander. Pilots to your planes. This will be your finest hour.
You name-dropped the level name again. Why did you do that? You were doing so well up until now. Anyhow, this mission is pretty simple. First, you want to hop into the bomber and fly over that Stonehenge-looking thing right there. Bomb this anti-air so it doesn't annoy you. There are anti-air veterans placed throughout the level. Unfortunately, you can't completely avoid them, so you have to bomb out that one right there. Now, there's an anti-air tower here, but it can't do very much. Bomb the light tank and the ammo dump at the same time, because you don't want the prisoners to get destroyed by the light tank as soon as they're out. Then order the POWs to capture the airbase. Now you want to get rid of the airbase's defenses before they can get there, so take out the autoguns first. If you attack the light tanks first, they have a tendency to hide under the airbase's little buildings there, which is actually pretty clever on the AI's part. They're going to try that right now. But hopefully before the anti-air tower takes down the bomber, well, actually, I have the last laugh because I ran the bomber into the airbase's little building anyways. I don't really see why you guys are shooting at the anti-air tower. Grunts can't really do much. So let's bring in the fighter here. We have to call it over here because now the airbase starts spawning in gunships. I have no idea why it took until now for gunships to start spawning, but hey, better late than never, I suppose. They do pose a threat unless you distract them with your fighter. And that's the end of the level. Mission complete. Huh. That was a pretty short level. Not exactly a very epic way to close down the Anglo Isles campaign, but hey, you know, I'm cool with it. It's impossible to get an S rank, of course. I have no idea why they give you 16 minutes for that level. I cleared it in only 2. Well, anyways. Now it's time for the Iron Legion campaign. Yes, the Iron Legion has a campaign in the form of yet another flashback and... What do you mean I'm not done? What do you mean I need to get an S rank on that mission? You saw it was impossible. There's no way to get an S rank on that mission. Alright, fine. Let's go back in here. That's not how you clear that level. I'm sorry. I lied to you all. That is not how you clear that level. The actual level is very, very much harder. This is the hardest mission in the game, except for maybe the final mission itself. So, of course, you're going to make me go through it the hard way. So, first of all, we need to defend this airbase. And unfortunately, this involves a lot of playing around with the fighter. I don't like using the fighter controls. They're really, plane controls in general. Since you tilt the plane with the Wiimote tilting, it's kind of, it doesn't really work 100%. Motion controls, especially this early in the Wii's lifespan, didn't exactly pan out very well, but oh well. First he warms us up by sending in an air transport with grunts. That's not hard to take down. 4 hits from your fighter will down any air unit in this mission. Unfortunately, next up is the enemy fighter. Now, I don't like fighting fighter against fighter. I mean, it looks cool. You'll probably make Star Fox jokes at my expense, but as you just saw, if you don't time your it's not even dead. If you don't time your barrel roll correctly, then the missiles will hit you, and you will get hit, and you will lose a lot of life. Fighters do a lot of damage to other fighters, which is made up for by the fact that they can just barrel roll to avoid being shot, but you have to hope that shaking the nunchuck in order to barrel roll works correctly. Of course, the AI doesn't have that problem. They aren't restricted by the controls. And once we get done defending the airbase, there's another fighter too. Once we get done defending the airbase, I'll just let the AI handle all the fighter stuff from now on for the most part. Yes, you can see that I lost the fighter, but fortunately the airbase respawns it rather quickly. So it'll be back in time to finish off the next wave of air transports. Kind of makes the whole thing pointless if you ask me. I mean, if you didn't have the fighters, then there would be nothing stopping you from getting at the gunships. So that's that. And now that we've successfully defended the airbase, we can now arbitrarily have an additional fighter and bomber. Couldn't I have had 2 fighters while I was defending this thing? Oh well, you know, I'm at least thankful that the air transports have given us grunts and flame veterans, which is arguably not much. I'd have much preferred bazooka veterans for obvious reasons. So the next thing I'm going to do is, this is where the real mission starts. First, I want to order my fighter and bomber to defend the airbase. Not that the airbase ever gets attacked or anything, which would have been really cool. But, you'll see what the purpose of defending the airbase like that was. Or at least, the purpose of it was to keep the fighters and bombers at the airbase where they are safe, because there are a lot of anti-air units in this level, and it's very possible for the planes to accidentally fly into the range of them, and when that happens, you know, they're gonna get hit. The fighter might be able to avoid the missiles by barrel rolling, but the bombers can't, so don't get into their range. And I'm trying to jump over this little stone fence here. So while I order my troops to take out a couple of out-of-the-way enemy units, let's see what this Stonehenge thing right here is all about. There appear to be medipacks next to it.
These stones are said to have been laid by the ancient ancestors of Colonel Windsor. At least, that's what he claims. I say, it appears that the pagan deities have rustled up some health packs. Don't let them go to waste.
Pagan deities. If you say so. If you say so, buddy. So, there are several secondary objectives on this map. First up is the helipad in this little village here. It's got 4 anti-air units in front of it. So obviously they'll take down your air units if you're not careful. So I'll have my ground forces take care of them. And here's the beauty of the strategy I employ in this map. I order the bombers and fighters to attack specific enemies in this little group here. They fly in pretty fast because they're planes. They fly in pretty fast. In fact, the fighters are already here. Now, the really cool part is that I have it set so that when one of your units completes an attack, it goes back to whatever it was doing. So once the planes are done doing what they're doing, they'll go right back to the airbase, safe and sound, where they can't accidentally fly into range of anything dangerous. While I'm at it, I should probably capture that helipad. There's not really anything of note in the tents, just jerry cans, which your plane units could use if they fly low enough, and that's risky because you might crash. So what's this air transport going to give us? Bazooka veterans! Excellent! In all their kilt-wearing glory. Nah, I'm just kidding. I think that's really cool. So bazooka veterans are incredibly helpful in this mission. This is an extremely hard level. Like, the time limit is 16 minutes for an S rank, and you'll probably use about 3/4 of that. You'll probably use all of it if you're trying for no casualties, or 100% in everything, which would be rather silly because this is a painful mission. For example, bazooka veterans against light tanks. Did you see how much damage I just took there? This is where it's really noticeable how much more damage the enemies are doing to you than you're doing to them. As I've stated, the game increases the amount of damage that gets taken over time as the game goes on. So, you know, it's very annoying. Bazooka veterans are also nice for taking out those stone walls. They're hard to destroy without the bazooka veterans. So let's take out this light tank from long range, because if bazooka veterans are good at anything, it's attacking from range. This is also the point at which the enemy will start launching gunships directly towards you. Funnily enough, none of the gunships in this level actually spawn until you're finished defending the airbase. So, you saw how I took that bomber and just started destroying things without having finished defending the airbase first. You could take your bomber and start destroying things before the level officially begins, if you catch my drift. Also, my bazooka veteran has 0 health. I have no idea how he's still alive. But unfortunately, the anti-air shot does him in. That's very embarrassing. So now it's time to get the fighters to take out these gunships. They should be able to avoid the anti-air units, since in this area the anti-airs aren't positioned very well. And the MG towers, those are taken out with one fully charged charge shot, so that's good enough. Let's get rid of these anti-air units before they stop. Did I just miss at point blank? That's very strange. Anyhow, I almost forgot, we need to take out this helipad as well. Or not take it out, capture it rather. And I might as well pull in the bombers, since anti-air enemies aren't that big of a threat. They're still threatening, because the airbase will also send fighters to your position. And of course they respawn, so with the gunships and fighters hampering you throughout the level, and the very limited amount of ground troops, because aside from the POW camp with the grunts in it, this is all you've got in terms of infantry and land units. The light tank isn't very helpful. I mean, bazooka veterans can do its job easily enough. So I'm gonna hop in the fighter one more time here in order to take out these air transports before they land. I believe it's nothing but grunts and anti-air units anyways. Yeah, and I couldn't pick up the jerry can. Oh well. So let's take our light tank and get after these, oh, enemy fighter, just like I said. Let's watch here for a little bit. Oops, one of them gets shot down, but hey, at least the other one lives. Or not. Well, it's a good thing the game is lenient as far as technique goes. You could lose everything but your air units. Well, actually, that's not accounting for the possibility of losing your respawning air units. Thankfully, your air units respawn. Of course, since the objective is to capture the airbase, losing all your infantry is game over. These two light tanks are particularly annoying to deal with. If you've got your light tank and your bazooka veterans, then it's pretty easy. But never try to take those out with just one light tank. It doesn't work like that. The village up ahead has an anti-air tower defending it, as you've probably guessed by now. Fortunately for us, anti-air towers are way, way weaker than anti-air infantry, because all you have to do is fire one charged bazooka shot and it takes out the anti-air tower in one hit, because of course, you know, bazooka veterans, amazing range. Look how far away I'm hitting this light tank from. With that out of the picture, free our POW grunts here. It's just a bunch of grunts, but it's a decent reinforcement. And not only that, the tents here have some health packs. Those are very, very helpful. You could go back to Stonehenge to get the health packs there, but, you know, that's way far away by now. We're almost to the airbase. The counterattack that Akira sends in is just a bunch of air transports with grunts in them. Not very hard to... Well, there's a gunship, too. Those aren't hard to deal with. Of course, I forget about the gunship, and it costs me. The fighters take out the gunship, but I lose the light tank. Oh well, nobody liked that light tank anyways. You've got bombers in this level. If you want to take out ground units, all you have to do is hit the anti-air towers with bazooka shots like I'm doing here, and then your bombers are free to wreck everything. This is way harder than it looks. It took me like 10 tries to get this right, and I was trying out different strategies too. And of course, as soon as you get close to the airbase, it starts spawning even more units. Oh look, I just saw a gunship spawn. You don't see that every day. So before you actually start capturing stuff, you're gonna want to take out those light tanks and auto guns. Those are the only ground enemies at the airbase. Actually, Akira flies in some infantry as well, but he never thinks to put some anti-air infantry here. Anti-air infantry are in fact a bigger threat than anti-air towers, because anti-air infantry can avoid bazooka shots. So now all we have to do is hope that the infantry don't get destroyed as they raise the flag. Where are the air transports? I'm looking for the air transports. They're behind me. That's devious. They must have flown in from a solar HQ or something. So yeah, that's pretty much the end of the mission. We just have to wait for them to finish capturing. I have to say, if there were more levels like this on like a hard mode or something, I would think Battalion Wars 2 is the superior game of the Battalion Wars series. Because, you know, most of the missions up till now, you don't notice any of the little things like how much damage the enemies are doing to you until this mission hits and it's like, oh wow. And there's more threatening enemies attacking you throughout the stage instead of just like, oh, they crossed the line, the invisible line, send in a gunship, and then the gunship gets shot down and you're like, that wasn't a threat at all, but oh well. That ends the Anglo Isles campaign, and we can move on to bigger things. Like the plot, for instance.
Insolent dogs! Victory was mine by right!
You will not have to suffer the shame of defeat for long, Admiral Akira.
Kaiser Vlad? How?
Something wrong, Herr Admiral?
Poison! Treachery!
Quite correct on both counts. I trust that all goes according to plan.
Just as you have commanded, our armies are laying siege to the Foundland territories.
Thanks to your diversionary tactics, we are meeting with very little resistance.
Excellent. Unlimited power is within our grasp.
Well then, that was contrived. Also, I'm pretty sure those aren't real photos. Somebody had to have drawn them. That newspaper's got some real good artists. Wow, 100 technique despite all of those losses. Well, it was only a couple of infantry, the tank, and 12 minutes, too. So that's the hardest level in the game, assuming the final mission treats me well, but hey, Next time, the Iron Legion campaign.